we're going to talk about homeowners insurance and how you can save money and everything you need to know about homeowners insurance. Because I'll give you my story real quick, and I'll give it to you again later in the video probably. My homeowners insurance went up to $2,800 a year, which in Florida that's actually not that bad because some people are paying upwards of $5,000. But I called up a company, we're going to get into that, and I got quoted $1,200. We're going to tell you how to knock your insurance down, and that's a huge savings for me anyway, because I'm just a retired old dude living on Social Security. All right, let's get into the video. Second thing I wanted to talk about was, I don't know about you, but I have my homeowners insurance. It's here in Florida. I don't know what the hell was going on, but they kept going up and up and up, and I was going through an insurance broker because I thought they had my back. Right? Anytime you got a middleman, I guess, you know, the rule of thumb is usually the middleman, they got to make their cut somehow, and they're going to steer you to where they make the most money. But anyway, but I had a good insurance company. I liked them, but they just kept raising the price, kind of like car insurance. And I just tell you the price. It went to $2,800 a year, which is nothing for Florida. I know people that have to pay like $6,000, you know. I mean, there's some outrageous numbers out there. So, I mean, a lot of people are going, well, 28, that ain't bad. No, it is, I mean, you know, but to me, that's too much money. I'm pretty poor, man. You know, I can barely afford paying for my house, you know, with my Social Security. It's tough, man. But anyway, so there's a great company called Kin, KIN.com. If you want to go watch their advertisement, I put it in my, not the last video, but the previous video. Go check it out, man. It's funny as hell. It's called Florida Man. And I mean, I honestly thought, I didn't think it was a commercial, but at the end they always go Kin, KIN.com. You know, and I was going like, is that really a company? So anyway, just because I love the advertisement so much, I gave them a call. I said, can you run some numbers for me and just give me a price on a homeowner's policy? Oh yeah, sure. Who are you with now? I couldn't remember. I said, Florida something or other. They said, oh, well, you know, that's all right. We'll just run you a quote. So I gave them, and of course, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. You have to give them all the information. You know, and of course, but I'm going to tell you, we're going to get to the inspection portion of the video here in just a second. All right, so you give them all the information. She ran the quote and said, well, I believe we can insure you for $1,200. I said, really? I said, does that, the protections? She said, no, these are the max protections. She said, it should match your previous policy. You're welcome to compare the two. So, but she says, but I'm going to need a home inspection done to verify, you know, a couple of improvements that I have made to the house. You might not have these improvements, but we're going to get to the inspection piece right now, because these are all the things you're going to have to think about for that inspection. So the first was, I upgraded my windows. I have hurricane-proof windows. Now, the previous insurer wouldn't give me a discount for having hurricane-proof windows. It didn't make sense to me. That's a $50,000 upgrade to the house, and I didn't even get a discount. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But the new insurance, Kin.com, they gave me a huge discount for the hurricane-proof windows. So that was one big discount that I got. The second huge discount was when I put the new roof on. It was 2017 here in Florida. If you get out a certain number of years, I think it's like 15 years or something, maybe they even have shrunk that, then they won't give you insurance unless you put a new roof on the house. Whether your old roof is good or bad, they don't give a shit, you know, because they just won't insure the house. So, but my roof is still, you know, right there. So that's the next thing they're going to want to check is it wind mitigated? Okay, you have to have your roof wind mitigated. So whenever you put a new roof on, make sure you do the wind mitigation portion. Okay, very important for your homeowner's insurance. All right. Now, what did the inspector look at? Oh, let's see. Was there anything else? Well, if you have bad electrical, be sure and upgrade your breaker panel. And then, of course, if you have any problems with your plumbing whatsoever, get that fixed before you do the inspection. Because that was one of the main things they checked. I mean, that guy went to every single faucet, ran the water for like 10 minutes per faucet just to make sure there wasn't even a drip, flushed the toilets, went outside. Now, here's another thing that'll get you a discount. Cutoff valves. So your toilet, make sure you have a cutoff valve next to the toilet. If you don't, hire a plumber. I mean, it's important, whether or not you get a discount on your insurance or not, it's still important to have a cutoff valve. Suppose you have a problem, and you know, what are you going to do? Cut off the main, which you could. I mean, you cut off the main, but the damage would be done, especially if it's a bathroom upstairs, you know. But anyway, so have a cutoff valve on your toilets. And then also they went and looked. I had a plumber put a cutoff valve to my house outside, right next to the house, because otherwise you have to go to the water meter and you have to have a special tool, and you can turn that. It's like a screwdriver or a socket wrench, and you can turn that thing and it'll cut off the water to your house. I mean, that's a pain in the butt. Plus, I'm not sure you should be messing around with that water meter. That's government property, man. So anyway, so if you don't have a cutoff valve next to your house, make sure you get that cutoff valve. Now, all of that said, okay, we're prepping for the inspection. The last thing is check your roof. All right, so if you have any loose shingles, you know, you can buy a tar gun or a tube of tar. Okay, you can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever, which is called roof tar. And you can go up there with a caulk gun, or have somebody else do it. That's fine, and have them check around for any loose. And if you got a blower, you can blow around on your roof, and those shingles will fly up. Especially as you walk up the roof, and you can find those loose shingles, and then just tar them back down. That's the first thing you got to do. Second thing you got to do before the inspection, make sure your gutters are clean. All right, now a lot of people have the leaf filter up there, and it works well up north, but here in Florida we got these little tiny leaves, and plus the way my house is, I can't use them, so I have to, you know, blow out my gutters all the time because I've got big oak trees all around me. You know, if you got leaves on the roof, make sure all the leaves are off the roof so that they can see what they're doing. If you got leaves in, like I've got the soffits on the top for the heat, make sure that the leaves are cleaned out of that. If you have to, you know, you might want to buy some chemicals, because if your roof is stained, you might want to get that taken care of. Or you can go up with a 45-degree nozzle with a power washer, and you can just be real careful because you don't want to damage the shingles, and you can just blast that dirt right out of the shingles and make that roof look like $1 million. I know you're saying, man, this is a lot of work. Well, I have to do it because I got an HOA. You might not have an HOA, so you can get away with it, whereas I can't. All right, so we got the water. I talked about the electrical because you got to check your electrical panel, make sure that it's in good shape. He's going to check the electrical. Then he's going to check your air conditioning. You know, if you've got a really old air conditioner, I don't know why they check the air conditioning, but anyway, they are going to check that. Maybe, you know, I'm not upgrading my air conditioning until it catches on fire and explodes, you know. But so you might not get a discount for that. And then he's going to check the heat, okay, because they do temperature readings on everything. So I have just a little electric heater, and he kept going. He says, I can't get the heat to work. I said, I told you at the beginning I disconnected the gas from Tico Gas. He said, really? I said, yeah, I told you that. I said, they were charging me a fortune for gas that I never use. I mean, here in Florida, you only heat your house, I don't know, maybe 30 days out of the year. I haven't even cut the heat, but I bought a really nice infrared heater. I did a video a while back on a review of that heater. And I tell you what, he did the temperature reading 300 damn degrees. I mean, no, and it heats my whole house. You know, so I just use that one little heater. Anyway, and that way I'm saved because Tico's going to charge you a monthly fee for gas hookup. Now, a lot of people in Florida have gas hot water heaters, and they can't get away with not having gas. But, you know, you could always go tankless. I don't recommend it because I like that emergency water supply. But if I didn't have an electric water heater, I would have gone tankless just so that I could disconnect that gas and save a ton of money here in Florida. Now, I understand up north you can't do that. All right, so a little long-winded video here, but I think it should help you out quite a bit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Of course, and then he inspected the windows. Now, if you ever do put in new windows, another thing to bear in mind, you keep all paperwork. Okay, on the windows there's a white sticker that has to stay on the windows for the duration of the project until they sign off on the project, or an inspector. You have to get a county inspector. They come in, they inspect the windows, and then in my case, they had to come back out and fix all the stuff that the county inspector found twice or maybe 3 times. But so don't remove that white sticker from the window. But then when it's all said and done, you know all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, You pull those white stickers off the windows and you save them. I'm gonna tell you what, you've got to have those because it's got all the information about your windows to get the discount. All right, and you put those in a folder along with all the other paperwork that you have on your windows. And that's true of any project. You know, you replace a refrigerator, you keep all the paperwork. You replace the washing machine, you create a folder and you keep all the paperwork. You know, so, but a lot of people don't do that. I don't know why. Like, I'm not sure if Zen.com services other states besides Florida. I never even asked that question. Maybe I will, because I still got to deal with them. And I wanted to add, I'm not sure if I said it in previously, was that they did find a problem with the ridge shingles on my roof. And because my roof is under warranty, those shingles will get replaced according to the inspector for free. So it turns out that $350, or well, $330. Be sure and let them know if you're a veteran, because you do get a discount if you when you go in to make the purchase. At least they gave me one. Not sure they do it all the time. And get that discount for yourself. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely look around. I mean, I think you can save big money on your homeowner's policy. It depends. And then if you want to do that window upgrade, I'm going to tell you, those hurricane-proof windows, not only is my house a hell of a lot quieter, because I have motorcycles in the neighborhood behind my house, and they make a lot of noise. They used to wake me up. Can't even hear them now. And also my energy savings has gone through the roof. I mean, sometimes in the summertime, it'll be 100 degrees outside and the air conditioning's not even running. And then in the wintertime, you know, even though the coldest night I can recall we had here in Florida was 20s, it got into the 20s. And all I had was one little heater, and it was able to keep the house warm because of those hurricane-proof windows. I mean, it really cut my energy costs way down. And plus, they come with UV protection. And then, of course, they're theft-proof. Think about that. You know, somebody's going to break into your house. Yeah, they can get through those windows. It's going to make one hell of a lot of noise. and it's good. They're going to need a sledgehammer to get through a hurricane window, you know, which they might have, you know. But it should give you plenty of time to get to whatever device you're going to use to defend yourself. You know, whether it's a burner or a gun or whatever you want. And like my last piece of advice is, if wait till they get in the house to shoot them. You know, that way you're justified. You know, if you shoot them while they're outside, especially in a Democrat state, they're probably going to send you to jail. But I think even in a Democrat state, if they're already in the house and you shoot them, I think you're going to be all right. I know that's a little bit more dangerous to wait till they get in the house, and you're probably not thinking about that. You know, or if you shoot them outside, drag them into the house. You know, and make sure you drag them right through the window, you know, so that they get some of that glass in there, so that when the autopsy's done, you know, it should come back in your favor. So yeah, make sure they're in the house. That's all the last thing I gotta say. Doesn't that look like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree? Don't you miss the old Peanuts cartoons? Anyway, I wanted to add to the homeowners video here. It's a different day, that's why the scenery looks different. But I haven't made the video yet, so I can. I had the inspector, when I sent the inspection report to the insurance company, for whatever reason, he checked a box that said that my front door or my garage door weren't up to, I don't know, wind standards or whatever, some standard. And it seems impossible to me, because I mean, it would take a freaking backhoe to get through my garage door, and my front door is a solid steel door with door armor on it. So anyway, that's being contested right now. It didn't add much. It just added $99 to the policy. So right now, if the cost, I went ahead and pulled the trigger. It was $1,300 for a year of homeowners insurance with Ken.com. And I put that video in another spot. So I just wanted to update the homeowner saga. The other thing was I called the roofer, because I told you that the inspector said that some of the ridge shingles on the roof were blistering. And this is a little tip for you. You know, if you're ever going to put on a new roof, you know, I hate to tell you, go with the big boys. Go with the big boys, because you know, there's a lot of small little roofing companies in Florida, but they come and go. Like, you know, they just come, and they're a lot cheaper, obviously, but they come and go. And if that roofing company's out of business, you're going to have a hard time getting that warranty serviced. But in my case, because it was a big company, I could just call them up. Boom. They said, we'll be out next Wednesday. Take a look at it. So, I mean, so I was thumping my feet. I mean, nothing in life's ever that easy, is it? I mean, so I was really happy about that. So just another little home insurance tip I wanted to add to the video as the saga continues. But yeah, I'm all done. And then they told me to wait. The old policy, I'll be canceling that here shortly because this one doesn't take effect till March 31st. And they said, give it about a week after, for the two policies, to kind of merge. Don't cancel it like the 31st right on that day. Just my luck, my house would catch on fire the first day of the policy, But so give it a few days. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the homeowners video. This will be at the end of it. And I'm trying to help you out wherever I can. I mean, I think that was a huge, huge savings from $2,800 down to $1,300. For actually, in some ways, it was a better policy. So now whether the company, Ken.com, will pay up if there's a problem, I can't answer that question. I'd have to meet somebody who's had them as an insurance company. But I don't know. I mean, they're still in business and they've been around for about 5 or 10 years as far as I know. So usually a company will go out of business fairly quick if it's a scam or they're not, getting good ratings. All right, this will be the last clip on my homeowners video, a homeowners insurance video. So the story continued, and I wanted to wait till everything was done. When I went to pay for the new homeowners policy, they looked at the inspection report, and they said, "Well, your doors don't pass the requirements that we require, so therefore your policy is going to cost." I think it was $100 more per year because the doors. They said the garage door and the front door. I'm not sure about the garage door. I haven't checked. I did call them about the front door. So what happened was I called up the inspector and I said, "Well, why didn't you rate the door as not hurricane proof? Because I have a solid steel front door with door armor. I mean, you can't knock it down without a battering ram." And the same with the garage door. I dare say if I backed my car in the garage door, I would do a whole lot more damage to my car than I would the garage door. I mean, it's steel reinforced. And he said, because I didn't have the paperwork. And I said, how are you supposed to have the paperwork? I mean, that door was there when I bought the house back in 2017, And anyway, we exchanged a bunch of emails, and I told him, I said, well, how do I fix this, I mean, is there another inspector? Because at that time, I did not know that the paperwork was the issue. I thought that he had checked a box saying it didn't meet hurricane standards. And so I was saying, that's a damn lie. Well, it turns out he was correct. And so this is just a lesson to be learned by you and me. If you have a front door, for example, if I had a front door with windows, okay, mine's a solid steel door. But if you have a front door with windows, I do recommend that you replace that door with a solid steel door. Now, on that solid steel door, supposedly, or you better make sure when you buy it, okay, because you understand with the windows, they can just knock the window out, reach in and unlock the door. Okay, that's why you don't want windows on a door. I know it looks pretty and everything. Maybe if you live in a gated community with security guards and all, you're not too concerned about it, but I still think you should have a solid steel front door. But anyway, there's a serial number somewhere on that door that gives you the rating of the door. And you would need to call your homeowner's insurance company and say, here's the serial number of the door that I'm purchasing. Is it hurricane proof rated? And can I get a discount? In my case, I would, but maybe your insurance company doesn't. Okay, so that would be something that you would want to investigate. Now, as far as the garage door, obviously, I'm not going to replace the garage door. Well, mine, because it's solid steel, So I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and take that $100 penalty. But I imagine somewhere, and this would be another thing. See, the problem with the inspector was he did not bring this to my attention. And that's why we had a spat. Okay? And so if you do have an inspector and they don't bring something like that to your attention, be sure and give them a bad review. You know, although he did identify the fact that some of my shingles on the roof needed to be replaced under warranty, which saved me some money. So the inspection was worth it in that regard. Okay? So anyway, that's it for the homeowner's policy. I mean, these are all things that I have to learn them the hard way so that you get to learn them the easy way, just by watching the videos. All right, peace out, stay free. I hope this helps you save some money, get a new policy. Maybe, you know, if you get an inspection, now you know what the inspector needs to look for. You know, I've talked about the water. You know, they're going to check every single place where water comes into your house. Make sure you have shut-off valves for the toilet. You know, make sure that you have a shut-off valve for the house outside. You know, all these things, they don't cost a lot of money. I think I only paid about $300 to $500 for the shut-off valve outside the house. It was worth it too. I'm going to tell you, sometimes I've had to cut the water off to the house, and the convenience of just being able to go out and turn one valve and cut all the water off to the house, you don't understand. That's a hell of a thing that you need. All right, peace out. Stay free.